Everyone, hope you all are good and hope that you have studied chapter 5 properly. And today, in the ninth lecture of chapter 5, we are going to complete this chapter. We are left with three ratios only. As I said, the efficiency ratios topic that we have started in the previous lecture consists of four ratios, of which one we have completed in previous lecture and remaining three we are going to understand in today's lecture. The three of them are extremely simple and easy to understand. So they could be understood all together one by one. Yes. So of course, accounting ratios and analysis we are going to continue and we are going to end this chapter today. So quickly, without discussing anything else, we are going to start with working capital turnover, the second ratio from efficiency ratios. Yes, working capital turnover ratio. Of course, you should have your textbook with you while you watch this lecture. The ratio is given on page number 239. Working capital turnover ratio. This ratio shows the relation between sales and working capital. If sales is not available, the relation between COGS and working capital is examined. From this ratio, it is ascertained that how many times the working capital generates sales. The formula for which is working capital turnover equals to sales or COGS. Now let me explain one thing here. If in the given question you are not provided with sales, you will consider COGS. Yes? Upon working capital. Working capital, if you remember, we have understood the formula for this while dealing with current ratio. Working capital equals to current assets minus current liabilities. Yes? So this is the formula for working capital turnover, and an important instruction given below that says when sales is not given in the question, the ratio is to be calculated on the basis of COGS. As I said, if sales is not provided, you will consider COGS in the given question. Alright? Objective and trend. Of course, you will read for the purpose of theory, like MCQ, BSQ questions. And the trend, of course. We are going to start with illustration 26, given on page number 239 about calculation of working capital turnover. From the following information of HR Limited, calculate working capital turnover. Sales, sales return, current assets, current liabilities. Yes, so this is the information you are provided with. You are supposed to calculate working capital turnover. So as always, we'll be writing the formula at first. Working capital turnover equals to sales upon working capital. Of course, sales is given. So sales is to be considered and not COGS. COGS is an option taken only in absence of sales. So yes, sales, in the given question, sales is given, sales return is also given, and we are considering the amount of net sales always. Yes, this is not to be repeated and instructed every time. Yeah, so firstly, net sales. Total sales 22,20,000 less 20,000 gives you 22 lakh. So this is the amount of net sales that you are going to consider. Then if we are talking about working capital based on this formula, current assets 6 lakh minus current liabilities. As I said, we have understood this formula while calculating current ratio. So I'm not going in much detailed explanation. Simply current assets 6 lakh less current liabilities 2 lakh. Alright, this gives you 4 lakh. So sales 22 lakh, working capital 4 lakh, formula for that is here, working capital is here. Yes, simply putting these figures in the formula gives you the answer 5.5 times. Yes, working capital turnover is to be presented in terms of times, and just that simple. The sum, the illustration is over. Looking towards the next illustration, illustration 27 given on page number 239, just below illustration 26. From the following information of MN Limited, calculate working capital turnover. Working capital is readily given, COGS is given, gross profit rate 25%. Okay. Again, these formulas we have understood while understanding gross profit ratio. Yes, see, gross profit rate is 25%. Sales is always 100%. And gross profit is related with sales. So 25% is GP. So obviously remaining 75% is COGS. And the amount for COGS is given here. Yes. So on this basis, you will obtain the figure of sales first. This does not mean that if the amount of sales is not given and the amount of COGS is given, that means you will readily opt the available amount. I mean, you will be readily taking an option. No. If the information about gross profit rate or gross profit is given, you will obtain the amount of sales first. Yes. So, sales equals to COGS plus gross profit. COGS is 75%, which is 15 lakh. So, obviously, what is 25% or say 100%? It is 20 lakh. Yes? If sales is 100, 75% is 15 lakh. Yes? So, you can simply cross multiply this and you will obtain the figure for sales 20 lakh. Yes, so sales is obtained and working capital is readily given 3 lakh. Yeah, so simply putting this in the formula, you'll obtain 20 lakh upon 3 lakh 6.67 times. This is on the basis of sales. And if you want to solve this on the basis of COGS given, then simply 15 lakh upon 3 lakh. 5 times is the answer. Yes, but whenever possible, you will find out the amount of sales the way you have obtained here. You just need to cross multiply. Yes, see, I can give you a better option. You can cross multiply in what manner? If 75% is 15 lakh, then what is 100%? You will directly obtain 20 lakh. Or else if 75% is 15 lakh, then what is remaining 25%? 5 lakh. 15 lakh plus 5 lakh gives you 20 lakh. Simple. So with this we complete illustration 27 also, which is about finding out working capital turnover. Yes, the simple sums just like we had for stock turnover ratio. Yeah. So the next one, illustration 28. From the following information, obtain working capital turnover. Total assets, non-current assets. Total liabilities, non-current liabilities. And sales. What is the formula for working capital turnover first of all? Sales upon working capital. Sales is given. So simply there is no second thought to this. We are supposed to obtain working capital. What is the formula for working capital? It is current assets minus current liabilities. Yes? Here we are provided with total assets and non-current assets. So out of total assets, if you will deduct non-current assets, the remaining amount that you will get is for current assets. 15 lakh. Similarly, if you will deduct non-current liabilities from total liabilities, the figure that you will obtain is for current liabilities. Here, we have obtained current assets first, then we have obtained current liabilities. So the answer is 5 lakh for working capital, not working capital turnover. Yes, sales 25 lakh is already given. Working capital we have obtained with this formula, with this calculation. So 25 lakh upon 5 lakh gives you 5 times and the sum is complete. Easy? Yes. So illustration 26, 27 and 28 is about calculation of working capital turnover. Yes. So you will practice these illustrations. Yeah. And now the next topic that we are going to start with, the next ratio that we are going to start with is debtors turnover ratio. The third ratio in activity ratios or efficiency ratios, debtors turnover, that we are going to understand now. Okay. This ratio is known as receivable turnover ratio also. Firstly, what is debtors turnover ratio? Who are the debtors? Debtors are actually your customers, the customers to whom you have sold goods on credit. Yes, are called debtors. Debtors turnover ratio is also known as receivable turnover ratio. What you can ascertain from this ratio is that how many times debtors and receivables emerge from credit sales. Ratio shows relation between credit sales and trade receivables. So the formula for debtors turnover is credit sales upon average trade receivables. Of course, why credit sales only has been considered here is the question. Because if you know the credit transactions, they emerge out of debtor-creditor relationship always. And hence, while calculating debtors turnover, only credit sales is to be considered and not the cash sales. Yes, in the given question, if you are provided with total sales, you need to deduct cash sales from the same. Only then the remaining amount, that is credit sales, can be taken in consideration for calculating debtors turnover. Right? So credit sales and average trade receivables. What is the formula for average trade receivables? Trade receivables means average of debtors and bills receivables of credit sales. Yes? Here they have written average trade receivables and they are giving us the meaning of the trade receivables. The word trade receivables, they say it is the average of debtors and bills receivables of credit sales. And the formula for which says opening trade receivables, that means opening debtors and bills receivable, plus closing trade receivables, that is closing debtors and bills receivables by 2. Yes. The note says that during determination of trade receivables, bad debts reserve should not be deducted from debtors. This ratio is for collection period, not for receivable amount. What they are trying to say is that whenever you will consider debtors and bills receivable, you will not deduct bad debt reserve from debtors that we usually do. Why? Because this ratio is not about the receivable amount. It is about the time period in which the amount will be received. Yes? And hence bad debt reserve should not be deducted. Right? So you know the formula for debtors turnover, which is this one, and the formula for average trade receivables. So you will write down the heading, the first formula, the second formula. And then we can start with an illustration, and objectives and trend, of course, you will read for the purpose of theory. And if we are talking about the presentation of this ratio, it can be presented in terms of, months, then in weeks and in days. This you will understand while solving a practical sum. Yes? To compute this ratio, clear instruction should be given to students. 12 months, 52 weeks, 365 days. These 3 points are in relation with this and this. Okay? Collection period in weeks, days and months. This I will explain while explaining the practical sum, so please not to worry. So illustration 29 that we are going to start based on calculation of debtors turnover ratio given on page number 241. From the following information of RR Limited, determine debtors turnover and collection period in months, weeks and days. So firstly the formula, the presentation in months, weeks and days. All of this are to be considered. Alright? Okay. So first of all, as I said, we'll write down the formula. Debtors turnover equals to credit sales upon average trade receivables. Let us find out credit sales. Is it given clearly? Anywhere in the question? No, but total sales is given. Total sales is 40 lakh, of which cash sales is 3,50,000. Total sales minus cash sales gives you the amount of credit sales. Total sales minus cash sales gives you the amount of credit sales. Simple. So credit sales obtained is 36,50,000 here. Now the only thing left is average trade receivables. What is average trade receivables? It is opening trade receivables plus closing trade receivables by 2. And what is trade receivables? Debtors and bills receivables. So we are going to consider the average of debtors and bills receivable. Opening, closing. Opening debtors and bills receivable plus closing debtors and bills receivable by 2. The amount for these two is given in the question, which is 4 lakh plus 3,30,000 by 2, which gives you 3,65,000, which is the answer for average trade receivables. Now, as we have obtained the answer for credit sales as well as average trade receivables, let us substitute these figures in this formula and obtain the answer. So it is 10 times. Sorry. So 10 times is the answer, main answer for debtors turnover. But the question says that you present it in the period of months, weeks and days. So if I want to present this answer in the period of, in months, then what am I supposed to do? Collection period in months, 12 by debtors turnover. So let us see, in months, 12 by debtors turnover. What is the answer? 10. So 12 by 10, 1.2 months. Then in weeks, 52 by debtors turnover. Yes? So 52 upon 10, 5.2 weeks. Similarly, in days, 365 upon debtors turnover, 36.5 days. That is 37 days. Yes? So this is how you write down the answer for debtors turnover. Yeah? This is the question. They've asked that you are supposed to calculate in a period of months, weeks and days. So you have done that here. Just that simple. Alright, with this we finish the understanding of debtors turnover ratio. We also have another example here that you will try to solve on your own, and in case if you have any doubts, please let me know. Please use your common sense, try to obtain the figure of sales, etc., anything that is not available. Yes? You are also provided with the solution. Alright? Okay then. The last ratio of the chapter, which is creditors turnover ratio, almost similar to debtors turnover ratio. Yes, the only change here is instead of debtors it is creditors, instead of sales it is purchase, instead of trade receivables it is payables, instead of debtors it is creditors, and bills receivable it is bills payable. Yes, you just have to replace these words and the formula is same. Yes, obviously on the basis of debtors turnover ratio we get an idea about the collection period. So obviously on the basis of creditors turnover ratio we'll get an idea about the period of payment. Yes. So formula for creditors turnover: credit purchase upon average trade payables. Credit purchase is what? Of course, total purchase less cash purchase. As I said, debtor-creditor relationship arises on the basis of credit transactions. And in the case of credit transaction, you are supposed to calculate credit purchase or credit sales only. Yes? Talking about average trade payables, it is opening trade payables plus closing trade payables upon 2. Trade payables includes of creditors and bills payable of credit purchase. Yes, almost similar to debtors turnover ratio. Debtors turnover is about sales and debtors. Creditors turnover is about creditors and purchase, credit purchase. Yes, that's the only difference. This ratio indicates how quickly the payment is made, and debtors turnover ratio indicates in how much period of time the payment is received. So trend and the remaining theory you will read, and of course again the time period of payment can be in months, weeks and days. Alright, again similar to debtors turnover. So starting with illustration 31, given on page number 243. The question says, from the following information of A.B. Company Limited, calculate creditors turnover and payment period in months, weeks and days. That means firstly you are supposed to find out the answer for creditors turnover. Then you are supposed to present it in period of months, weeks and days. Or I can say you are supposed to convert it. Okay? Total purchase is given, cash purchase is given. The very simple thing is that you will deduct cash purchase from total purchase and you will obtain the amount for credit purchase. This is the common sense that you will use. Opening trade payables, closing trade payables are given. So simply you will obtain the average for this. Yeah. So the very first thing that we always do is writing down the formula. The formula for creditors turnover is what? Credit purchase upon average trade payables. So firstly, credit purchase. Total purchase 30 lakh minus cash purchase 4 lakh. So what is the amount of credit purchase? 26 lakh. Now talking about average trade payables. Opening trade payables plus closing trade payables by 2. Opening trade payables 3,60,000 plus 4,80,000 divided by 2 gives you 4,20,000. Of course, you might be using your calci. Yeah. So average trade payables 4,20,000. Credit purchase 26 lakh. Putting these figures in the formula, the answer obtained is 6.19 times. So creditors turnover is 6.19 times. We are going to present the payment period in months, weeks and in days as per the question. So in months, 12, there are 12 months of course upon creditors turnover. The answer is 1.94 months. In weeks, there are of course 52 weeks. So 52 by 6.19, 8.40 weeks. In days, 365 days in a year, 365 upon 6.19. So 59 days. Yes? So here we complete illustration 31. Illustration 32 is again about calculation of creditors turnover, and they've said that you present the payment period in days only. They've not asked you about weeks and months. They're asking only for days. So you will present the answer in days after obtaining creditors turnover. And how will you obtain creditors turnover? Obviously you know by now. You will deduct cash purchase from total purchase. You will also deduct purchase return from the same. Yes, this is the basic knowledge that you are supposed to apply. The basic knowledge of this subject. Of course, purchase return is to be deducted from purchase. Opening and closing trade payables are readily given. Just obtain the average of the same and obtain the answer. Yeah? And present it in days. How many days? 365 days. So 365 upon the answer that you obtained 6 times. Yes, I am not explaining this in detail, of course, because the sums are of similar kind. You know the formula by now very well, and you know the necessary calculation. So you can do it on your own. Yes, and of course, also you will be doing sum number 17, 18 and 19 in homework as per today's lecture, of which sum number 17 is about calculation of working capital turnover. 18 and 19 is about calculation of debtors turnover and creditors turnover. Yes? So with this we complete chapter 5 completely from part 2. Yes? So till date from part 2 we have completed chapter 1 accounting for share capital, chapter 2 accounting for debentures, and chapter 5 which is accounting ratios and analysis, which is completed in today's lecture. Overall we are having 9 lectures for this. Yeah? The 9th lecture is today's lecture, the last lecture. Yes, and with this we have completed the calculation of all the ratios. Yeah, I have explained a little bit of theory. I have presented a proper weightage of this chapter, and in each and every lecture I have taught you the formulas for different ratios. And also in the description, the name of the ratio will be written. Yes, on the channel. Yeah. So that's all. We'll see you in the next lecture. Till then, stay home, stay safe, and study well. And you are supposed to solve your homework completely.